Okay, so just the surface area of the cube. So you just need to get the area of one of the sides, because see, that's 4 and that's 4. So the area of one of the sides will be 4 times 4, base times height, which is 16. And then there are 6 faces, 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6 at the back. So to get the whole surface area, you just go 16 times 4, and you end up with 64 meters squared, because it is area. Okay, so now the area of this rectangular prism. Okay, so the first thing you do is, if you look at, you do the front and the back. So with the front and the back, that is like this orange section here. So the front and the back, you can see this is 7, and this length here is 2, because if you bring the 2 all the way around, it would be 7 times 2, which is 14. But there are 2 of those, so you times 2, which is 28. There's 2 of them because there's one at the front and one at the back. Okay, then if you do the top and the bottom, so the top and the bottom, okay, so if you look at the top, that would be 7 there, and the side here is 3. So you go 7 times 3, and then that's the top, and there's one of those on the bottom, so then you times 2. So 21 times 2 is 42 meters squared. So I've done front and back, top and bottom, and now what I'm left to do is the sides. So if you look at the side, there's one of the sides there. So that is 3 times 2, and then there are 2 of those, because there's one on this side and one on the side you can't see there. So that would be 12 meters squared. So now to get the total surface area, all that you need to do is add all these up. So you've got 28 plus 42 plus 12. So that would be 60, 70, 82. So that's 82 meters squared. All right, so now the triangular prism. So you've got to get the area of the triangles. So the triangle is half the base times the height, so half the 4 times the 3. Half of that would be 6, and then there are 2 of these. There's one at the front and one at the back. So that's times 2, because there's 2 triangles, so that would be 12. Okay, then we're going to do this side here. So one of the sides. Now, if you go around the outside of the triangle, that'll always, like that, it'll be 5 times, and then whatever the width is. So it's 5 times 10, which is 50. And then if you go to the bottom, see down the bottom, you have 4. So you go 4 times 10 again, because at the bottom there is a rectangle there, and it would be 4 on the triangle side, and then 10, because that's the width of the rectangle, which is 40. And then if you look at the height of this triangle, that's 3 times the width. So your side would be 3 times another 10, which is 30. So now all we need to do is add all these up, 30, 40, 50, and 12. To get the total surface area, so it'd be 12 plus 50 plus 40 plus 30, which equals, so 50 and 40 is 90, 120, 132 meters squared. Okay, so looking at this triangular prism here now. So first of all, if we do the triangle first, so the triangle, there are 2 of them, so it's a half times. Now when you're doing the triangle, the base is 12, the height is 8. So it's a half times 12 times 8. But there are 2 triangles, so you times it by 2. 12 times 8 is 96. 90, and then a half of that, and then double it, you'll end up with 96 meters squared. So if you do this side here, so the side there, that would be 20 times 10. So 20 times 10 is 200. And And then if you look at, so I've gone this side, I've done the triangles. I have to do this side down here. So that's another 10 times 20. So that would be 10 times 20, which is another 200. And then there's one more side. Just like if you go around the outside of this, you'll see we've done that one, then we've done that one. We have to do the bottom. So when you do the bottom would be 12 along here times the 20, which is 240. So the total surface area, you add all these up, so that adds to 736 metres squared. Okay, the surface area of this rectangular prism, so let's go the front and the back. Let's get the surface area of the front and the back. So we have 5 and then times this length here. Now if you keep going around that length, there is 10. So 5 times 10, and then there are 2 of those because there's one at the back. So that would be 100. Then we go the top. So we go top and bottom. So that's 5 there, and 4 is here. Bring the 4 around. That's 4 and 5. So 4 times 5 is 20. Times 2 would give you 40 metres squared. And then finally, we want to do this one here. So we want to do the other side. So the other side, we have 4 there, 10 there. So 4 times 10, but there are 2 of those, so that's 80. So 100 plus 80 is 180, plus 40 would be 220 metres squared altogether for the surface area. Okay, now the cube. So the cube, we get the area of one of the sides. So that's 3 there and 3 there. So it's 3 times 3, which is 9. Then there are 6 of those sides. So 6 nines are 54 metres squared. Okay, this one here, so you do front and back. So you go 20 times 5. 20 times 5 times 2. So that's 100 times 2 is 200. This side, 10 times 5. So 10 times 5, which is 50, times 2, which is 100. And then the top. So that's 20 there. And this one here would be 10. So it's 20 times 10. So 20 times 10 times 2, which will give you 400. And then 700 metres squared. Okay, so the triangular prism. All right, so we'll do the triangle first. So you do base, which is 5 times the height, which is 12. So the 2 triangles would be 1/2 times 5 times 12. Then there are 2 of those, so you double it. So you end up with 60 metres squared. Then we're going to do this side here. So it's 10 times 12. So 10 times 12, which is 120. And then this side here, which is 13 times 10, because that's 10. This is one at the back there. So side, 13 times 10, which is 130. And then you've got the bottom. So when you look at the bottom, it's 5 times 10. So if you do the bottom, 5 times 10, which is 50. Okay, so the total would be 60 plus 120 plus 130 plus 50. That's 100, 200, 150, 200, 100, 200, 250, 300, 360 metres squared. That's the total surface area. Okay, so this one here, do the triangle. So there's 2 triangles, so it's 1/2 the base times the height, but there's 2 of those. So you get 96 metres squared. Then a side. Now this one's a little bit harder because you notice that when we go to do the side, we don't have this length here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to use Pythagoras. See, this is 16 across here, so that means that'll be 8. So that's 8, 6, and x to get that side. X squared is 6 squared plus 8 squared. X squared is 100. Square root the 100, and you end up with 10. Okay, so that means then that the side would be, if that's 10, and you're looking at that side, that would be 10. That's 10 times 5. So the side would be 10 times 5 is 50. And we have 1 on this side, so that would be another 10. So that side would be 10 times 5, 50, which is 50. And then they got the bottom. So when you look at the bottom is 16 times the 5. 16 times 5, which is 80. So when you add these up, 80, 50, and 50 is 180, and 96 is 276 meters squared. That's the total surface area. Okay, and finally, this last one, the triangles. So you go 2 triangles, so it's a half times 6 times 8 times 2, get 48. The bottom, 8 times 20, which is 160. Side, which is 10 times 20, which is 200. Side, which is 6 times 20, which is 120. And then you got to add them all up. Okay, so 200, 300, 400, 480, 480, 520, 528 meters squared. It's the surface area.